Guardian, we've picked up a high-gain transmission. Origin point is somewhere along the coast, near the Cosmodrome.
All right, folks. Welcome back to the return of Cosmodrome Radio. This is episode 52. We are back hitting it hard. Everybody for the first time is on camera. We looking great. Everybody's here, and it is going to be phenomenal. We are back after a little bit of a hiatus. We back getting it how we get it, and we putting in work. Now,
the new 52, goddamn firms.
I mean, hey man, don't firms. Don't get me started. Don't get me as you see my comic posters back there. You see my TikToks. I used to have a comic book podcast where all I did was bitch about why the new 52 was bad for comics. I will go off. You don't want that smoke right now. I'm sorry. You don't want that smoke.
Please, dear God, no.
So like that will be a 5-hour rant trying to explain why that shit was bad for the economy. You don't want that smoke. Okay, so it's been a minute. It's been a minute since we've been here. It's been a minute since we've had everything go down. And in general, there like a lot has happened in Destiny for the most part.
Yeah.
A lot has happened. We've gotten some updates. Things have gone down, and now we are looking towards the future of this game. And wow, Season of the Wish happened. That's all I'm gonna say about that. It happened. It was a thing. It had some cool moments, but it just happened. It was if that wasn't if Season of the Wish wasn't the most One Piece filler arc of a fucking season I've ever seen in my entire life, that was the definition of it. Granted, did it close off a chapter we needed to close off with Riven? Yes. Did it give vindication to everyone who thought there was a what the why are we let me just
professional streamer.
I know, right? I crossed 1,000 followers. We out here getting trolls in chat. Love that. But I'll deal with that.
I'll take care of it.
But yeah, no. So we had things go down, but like we had the whole thing with Riven, which was dope. We had people get their vindication with the 15th wish. That's great. But in general, it's a situation of, hey, this was filler to the max. And not only did we have the layoffs that hit everything hard, we had everything with everything going down the way it was. It's like, hey, what are we gonna be doing until June? And we started to see the explanations of that. But overall, let's start off with this. What was everybody's overall feeling of Season of the Wish as a story, gameplay wise? Cajun, if you had to give Season of the Wish your your review as an overall, what would you we'll put the dungeon separate because dungeon keys are separate. As a season, how do you feel about Season of the Wish?
Ooh, okay. If I was if I was comparing against the other four, it's definitely a little bit higher than Season of Defiance.
Okay.
But deep in which they were far better quality as far as an overall season. It seemed like they provided more bang for the buck. Now, as far as content and activity, though, the Coil is hands down the best that we've seen in a freaking long time. It shows that Bungie really does need to provide more engaging freaking PvE content as such. And hey, hint, hint,
nudge,
hint, Bungie, start looking at what you boys over at Helldivers pulled off.
Here we go.
Look, for liberty, for Super Earth.
Look, I won't lie. I've been enjoying a bit of a break from Destiny 2. Okay, because I've been doing something that I swore I was going to do. When I started to get bored, when I started to get burnt out, I was going to step away and go enjoy other games. Guess
Right.
what? It's still keeping Destiny 2 fresh. It's still giving me a chance to where if I log in, I'm not sitting in orbit just freaking. Okay. But at the same time, I'm able to enjoy the other games.
Right.
Look, like right now, I'm playing Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I was a Final Fantasy fan long before I was ever a Destiny 2 fan. And guess what? That has been providing such a refreshing breath of fresh air in the
Are your
gaming
are your
scene.
friends your power?
Get away from me. Go away.
All
Go
right,
sit in the corner.
that's the one I get.
You're
That was my
banned.
one. That was
You're
my one.
banned. Go sit in the fucking corner now.
That was my one. That was my
5-minute
one.
timeout.
You're exiled from here.
That was my one. That was my one.
This motherfucking man.
Oh, he's gonna stir the shit pot with that. But overall, like if I had to give Wish an actual rating, like on a scale of 1 to 10, it's a 4 out of 10.
Ooh,
The only
That was harsh.
Ooh, I'd at least give it a 5 because of Coil. Like, damn, a 4?
But I can understand it.
Coil is the only reason it gets a 4.
Damn.
See, like, look, I will keep it a freaking buck. Yes, it's great that they touched on Dreaming City. They revamped the freaking weapons and they gave them new life. Hey, Bungie, you know another planet that needs to have the same thing? The moon. Okay?
Moon's not as haunted as we thought it was because Moon ain't got shit to offer us.
Here's another one. Europa. Europa needs some freaking love.
Man,
as far as
oh my God.
All right. We're going to keep it a freaking buck. You know, it's great that you're starting to retouch these, but it feels like you could have done a little bit more, especially for this season.
Ooh.
But then the majority of the weekly quests, and I will agree with the community on this one. The fact that it was pretty much rehash Dreaming City stuff that we did back in Forsaken. Why?
Yeah.
Why? Bungie, did you literally run out of steam?
And didn't I call that on our last episode? Didn't I call that on our last episode that they were going to do that? Like half the season was going to be Dreaming City rehash. And look what happened.
And that's the thing. It was more than half. And that's the very concerning part. Okay, yeah, great. You gave us Coil. You brought us content that literally is going to set us up resource and reward engagement wise. Sorry, brain is starting to go burr. Until freaking Final Shape. Which, speaking of which, with the March 5th update, we're about to get a whole slew of freaking rewards and engagement, not just in PvE, but also in PvP.
Yeah.
So it's like Bungie, if you were running out of steam that freaking hard, I'm going to say this. I can see why Final Shape got delayed.
Man.
I think I'm at a point now where I think that Final Shape, that Bungie had a... How do I want to say this? They realized early on that if they were going to have a lackluster year, either before the Final Shape or the end of this story or after, and they decided if we have a hard year after we finally end this story, that nobody's ever going to come back. Because one of the biggest issues, or you hear it now, like a lot of people like after the Final Shape, I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna be doing with Destiny, But that's just my copium. Nah, I'm coping here. I can admit that, but I feel like they're about to come out with the real heat. But that's conversation for later.
That's valid. I will say when it comes to the Season of the Wish, I think the big thing, especially with the recent thing with the Wish tokens, that kind of was an eye opener for me. Is this could have been a really banger season. This
It
could,
could.
like,
Yeah.
from a lore perspective, did Bife have a lot of stuff to talk about? Hell yeah. But, like, in terms of a gameplay perspective, I will say this. Especially with them refreshing the Dreaming City weapons, I would have made it a priority to make Shattered Throne have a master version. I would have made it a priority to throw that at the community.
I'm gonna tell you right now, if they would have done that, my score would have went from a 4 to a 6.
That's what I'm saying. Like, especially because they went through all the effort to refresh all the weapons. You could
Hell,
go
they
back
even
into Shattered
they even
Throne.
refreshed Blinding Well, which don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. It's not one of those things you can just sit there, twiddle your thumbs, and freaking just lollygag over. I was getting my freaking proverbial ass kicked, freaking going at the freaking the meatball a couple weeks ago.
Oh yeah, Blind Well ain't no joke now.
That shit don't play around, and guess what? You do need a freaking actual decent squad.
Even for a tier 1, I saw motherfuckers getting their dick rolled. I was like, yo, what? Like, this is impressive. But like, in terms of it, I really feel like if they would have made like Season of the Wish, Season of the Refresh, where they went, hey yo, Dreaming City weapons refreshed, Master Shattered Throne. At the very least, with that Master Shattered Throne, we're going to unpower creep base Shattered Throne, because that's the big problem with Shattered Throne as a whole right now as a dungeon, where it is so easily power crept. You can walk in with 3 Warcliff coils and melt the final boss, and it's like, what was the point of that?
Dude,
like,
you don't even need 3 people. It is literally
I'm not doing that by myself.
For any player, even new light, if you want to test your metal to start doing any solo content, go do Shattered Throne. Literally, grab your phone, grab the map for the first encounter, and then start exploring. Right, exactly. Start exploring. Start testing your builds against Shattered Throne. It is one of the best ones out there because the last boss is so easy soloable. If you have a good build and you know how to use your weapons.
Like, I will say the first boss, the room for the first boss is a little stressful for a solo player, but in terms of the grand scheme, if you put 3 motherfuckers in that room, it's done in 5 seconds. You go 1, 2, 3, 4, witch is dead, bomb the boss, it's over. Like, if they would have unpower crept Shattered Throne and gave it a master version, that would have took me to at least a 7, especially though to unpower crept it. That would have made it worth running. Versus now, where it's like it's the equivalent of baby's first dungeon because it was everyone's first dungeon, and it's like, why didn't you take the love and care needed with this? Hell, you could have been like, hey yo, fuck the Wishender mission. We're gonna make Wishender be the prize on a specific drop rate for completing the dungeon to make it more accessible to players who like and give it specific achievements to do, give it its own seal worth running for, and it would have been cool to do.
But here's the thing, even the quest now, the quest is freaking stupid easy.
Yeah.
Okay, the only problem, and I'm gonna say this from a solo player standpoint, is gonna be the 3rd token that you gotta get, which that's in the first boss encounter room with that freaking ogre. If you've got a good build, it's doable. If you don't, you're gonna need teammates to help you out with that. But after that, easy peasy, and you're gonna get a freaking free dungeon clear.
Right. So it just, like, I think the big issue with this season overall is, like, that was the big thing that could have made or break for a lot of people this season, is if you would have banged out Shattered Throne and made it worth people's time again, especially with how many times it was in rotation this time. Like, it was a lot this past few weeks of Shattered Throne back to back because they wanted to give people chances to get the new loot. It felt like just nonstop runs of that shit. So I think in general,
but you gotta give credit where credit's due. Okay, while they may not have refreshed Shattered Throne, they refreshed Prophecy. Next week.
We ain't there yet. We gonna talk about that, and that's that. See, let's talk about another dungeon before we get to that. Warlord's Ruin. Man, oh man. I think Warlord's Ruin is a testament to what happens when you let developers have fun And
absolutely.
that, like, literally, it feels like Dark Souls-esque as fuck. Because Bungie developers have not been shy about the fact for years, whether it's the White Soapstone and Pit of Heresy, whether it's Leviathan, it does not matter. They have been very open about the fact they love Dark Souls and how the world is. So when they went, "Ayo, Warlord's Ruin," it's like damn near a D&D campaign in that thing with
it does
like
really freaking do that. Like I've talked about this before, Jay, with you, that there's a freaking there's a group that has their own Discord. They've been developing a Destiny TTRPG. I've tested it a couple of times with one shots and stuff, and it's an absolute blast. Warlord's Ruin felt like that, and it was such an amazing breath of fresh air. The only thing that would make Warlord's Ruin an absolute top tier dungeon if the loot was a little bit better. Don't get me wrong, the pocket rocket sidearm, absolutely. When I finally freaking started using it, it's fun.
That sniper is ass, that bow is mid, and like, yeah, the sword's cool in concept, but no one's gonna put that bitch on unless they have to.
Well, we're gonna find out if the buffs to freaking caster swords are gonna be worth their weight in gold.
That's fair.
On the March 5th.
They're not.
But at the end of the day, the only thing worth getting out of that dungeon is 2 sidearms, the exotic and the rocket pocket.
Honestly, and like that thing is like, and don't get me wrong, what the fuck is it? Can't think of the name of the crossbow is fun and all, but like it needs a buff. Like that crossbow is gonna get a buff here in a minute, but in PvE at the very least. Because
in PvP, it 2 taps, from what I've been hearing.
It depends. Like it very much has to be. You have to hit your motherfucking shots. Like if you mess up your shot, you ain't getting nothing with that thing, and it kind of sucks. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with it. I think it definitely is going to need like a Forerunner type of treatment where they level it out damage wise and give it a little more range. But in terms of, I think Warlord's Ruin has become my second favorite dungeon behind Pit. And granted, I'm a weirdo. I'm the one of the only people that loves Pit from a lore perspective and from mechanic wise. I think Pit is one of the best dungeons they've ever made. So that's just a me thing. But in terms of overall, Warlord's Ruin is like a top tier. Like if the loot would have been better, it would have been my favorite dungeon. I will put that hands down because like the sniper is like the same archetype and frame as the Season of the Witch sniper rifle, so it's kind of mid. And then the bow, yeah, it's cool. We have a strand bow, but like there's other bows we be messing with. So like Wishkeeper, especially like when they dropped a strand bow in a dungeon the same season we get Wishkeeper.
That's exactly what I was about to say. Like
what were you thinking?
Why would you put that there? It doesn't make sense.
So
I mean, it kind of makes sense, especially with it being a strand bow. When you need an alternative, it's kind of like freaking Sunshot and Zoli's Bane, right? If you want that hand cannon feel, but you can't have the freaking exotic, you grab Zoli's Bane, right? It's kind of that same difference. The only problem is that between the perks and the freaking weapon itself is kind of dookie. And it's not the equivalent alternative to freaking Starcrossed.
Right. So yeah, it's kind of weird. So, but overall, I think for me personally, Warlords, if the loot would have been better, it would be my favorite dungeon. But overall, it definitely has hit the number 2 spot. Do you know how you feel about it?
I don't know. Like this season, I have very mixed feelings about it. I think the story was good. I think Warlord's Ruin was amazing. Phenomenal dungeon. It could have been better. There could have been some. I feel like
Bungie could have trolled us a little bit harder.
They could have done that, or they could have done stuff like, I don't know. What the fuck is that thing? Shit. The fucking treasure chest and the quest.
The mimic, yeah.
Yeah, the mimics and all that bullshit, man. I'm like, bro, like this is fun, don't get me wrong, but it's so gimmicky
I think what kind of killed the mimic thing was like when it was almost every chest, that kind of killed the vibe. Now, if they would have had like instead of the screams appearing behind you, if screams would have busted out of the chest, that would have been funny. Or I'll even give Bungie credit for this one. This would have been the time to bust out the giant screeb. This would have been the time to pull the giant
I
screeb.
can't handle a giant
You
scream, man.
would have seen me alt. You would have seen me alt F4 so fucking fast.
That's too
Mini
scary.
screams are already a fucking nightmare. I don't need the giant scream bullshit again.
Like just for one quick gimmick, hell, it could even be like a one shot. Just have the scream come around a corner and be like, "What's up, fucker?" Like just freak people out on sight. That would have been the funniest thing ever.
Like, yeah, man, you have you ever got the giant scream at the end right before you fight the boss?
And it'd be randomized too. Like not everyone gets the giant scream, so it becomes like the equivalent of like a Herobrine in Minecraft situation, where like not everyone see the giant scream. That would have been the funniest thing ever.
Nah, man, fuck that. I'm telling you, my mind would shatter the second I saw that thing. Like,
yep,
I'm not dealing with this. That motherfucker go off like a goddamn nuke. Tactical nuke and wipe everybody. Nah, I'm
gonna tell you now, giant scream. This is the only appropriate answer right here.
You ruined it. You ruined it, and I'm leaving.
I swear to God.
All right.
Over the top.
Okay, so from there, let's talk about this in-game LFG real quick. I think while the LFG was a success in some areas, I'm gonna give my overall opinion. It needs work. There needs to be kick protection. I think Bungie kind of like being very hands off, where it was like, cool, the beta test went well, it stays, was a great thing to do because it made it accessible to a lot of people. However, I think the problem with it is there's one thing that I would add, and this is a controversial opinion. I think for the LFG specifically, there should be a drop-down menu for things like Last Wish and Vow, where it shows the symbol names before you go into a raid. Because case in point, I hopped into a Rolk checkpoint when I was farming my post rifle before I got it, and I loaded into a raid where these dudes went through the entire Vow teaching themselves. There was a random group of dudes that just formed an LFG, and they were making up their own things. They called Hive Eyes basketballs for some reason. They were making up random crap, and it's like, if there was a drop-down menu for certain raids like Last Wish and Vow where it explained certain mechanics, or just in general for all raids, where at the bare, like sort of similar to the guided raids, where each raid, like each drop-down raid thing has an explanation of each encounter, especially for blind attempts. That would be really cool. Like if it detects that you have no clears of a raid, it shows, hey, this is how you do this encounter. Not like how to complete it, but like in a bridge, like for totems in Kingsfall.
Yeah.
Like, hey, this is a bare minimum of like you go like you have to achieve this goal to go to the next encounter. Or like for fucking War Priest, you have to do these things and do this with symbols to achieve goal. Like that would make a lot of sense from a tactical standpoint. Like tips, like Jolly just said in chat, like tips.
Yeah,
like give people a base level to help. And that's like my one critique of it is like give. Especially if it detects that you have no clears of the content, like no one in the whole lobby has a clear of a raid. Give them bare bones tips of like, this is how you get through this. That way they're not having a horrible experience is what I would suggest.
I agree. And to be honest, I've done some freaking Fireteam Finders, and for the most part, it's been an overall good freaking experience. The only issue I've had, and this is a one time only. So, DZ community, don't sit there and say that this is an everything fucking occurrence. Okay, this was one time, and it was we grabbed a third to go do the exotic star-crossed mission, and because I didn't do my due diligence, this was a person who was under light level, number one, didn't have a clear build, and it literally became a fucking carry. It made the run an absolute freaking drag. And like I said, this was the one off. After I ascertained that this person was under light level, number one, and number two, didn't have a complete build, I said, listen, you need to either help or do yourself a favor, leave the run. After that, they started listening. So I will give credit where credit's due. They started listening.
Okay.
And after that, we were able to get the freaking run done.
Right.
It definitely did put in my mindset. It's like, okay, for most legendary type runs or mastered runs, whatever content you're doing, that's when you, as someone in the fire team finder, yeah, you're gonna need to check people's gear and stuff and talk to them. But outside of that, even doing raids, dungeon runs, it has been, even having new people, it has absolutely been fucking amazing.
That's awesome.
Okay, so there's good experiences with it, and I've been meeting a lot of people, helping them clear content that they've never had a chance to do.
That's dope.
So it's hitting the mark. It's bringing the people to the content that they never had a chance to do. And the fact that you had people doing raids, didn't have an idea of what they were doing, coming up with their own system in order to get the objectives done.
It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, that is.
I find that to be a win. I think that's a win.
I will say, from what I saw, the completion rates that Bungie put out for the Fire Team Finder
they were cooking them books. I don't care what nobody says.
What you mean? What you mean?
No,
I'm gonna pull it up. I forgot to open that specifically. But like, they posted the completion rates from the Fire Team Finder, and I was like, this is a this is
Salvation had me.
Yeah, like they said, so above all the raids in Fire Team Finder, Ron has the highest completion rate at 44%.
Which is understandable.
Which is understandable because it is the easiest raid. Deepstone was the next highest of 40%, which to be fair, like Deepstone mechanic wise is pretty understandable, and it has become a power creep.
It's right there next to Ron.
Yeah. Then Garden is the third highest with a 31% completion rate, which astounds me overall. And what's even funnier about that, it has the fastest completion time at 48 minutes, which that is mind-blowing. That Garden has the fastest completion time. And like,
I'm gonna say this. With some of the freaking well skaters and freaking shatter skaters out there, it makes sense because they can just pull people to every freaking encounter because they're gonna go zipping through the damn thing like nobody's business. Outside of that, to me, it makes sense. As someone who used to run freaking Garden of Salvation for a long time before red borders were a thing.
We gonna talk about that.
Oh yeah. Trust me, I've been waiting for that conversation. But anyways, long story short, to me, it makes sense why Garden of Salvation is number 3 on that freaking list for completion rate from the Fire Team Finder.
Then there's Vogue, which is at not 29% with a 51 completion rate. 51-minute completion rate. Crota Zed's next with 59 minutes, a 28% completion rate. And this is completion rate as if they finished the raid entirely. King's Fall, then Vow, then Last Wish, which that makes the most sense that Vow and Last Wish are in last place because they are the most convoluted and a pain in the asses to do. So, but what tells me specifically,
those two raids are both mechanically as well as technicality heavy.
Yes.
And by technicality heavy, it's the fact that you have to kind of memorize a bunch of symbols.
Yep.
And look, I've seen all the damn symbols in both freaking Vow and freaking Last Wish for God knows how many times, but my ADHD riddled unmedicated ass will freaking forget symbols at the freaking drop of a dime. How many times have I sat there on a Vow run, was like, duh, and I've got it right there next to me on the other screen. I'm trying to read it. My brain just will not process.
Right, and there's some symbols like Hive and Sabbath that you can kind of memorize, but then there's the ones that like Communion and like those ones that like are the same kind of like stick figure drawing, and you're like, is it this one or is it that one? And it messes with you a little bit. But what kind of blows me away also with Last Wish being in last place is the fact that like even through power creep, Last Wish is in last place, which I find so crazy because of how A, how long it is, and B, how mechanically intense it is. And that tells me, and honestly, that's another thing that Bungie could have did while they were sitting around twiddling their thumbs getting ready for Final Shape. You could have gave us Master Last Wish and Unpower Crept Last Wish while you were at it. That would have made Season of the Wish the biggest banger you could have possibly imagined. Especially because we just got.
Do you unpower creep Last Wish?
Make Callie not cheesable. Make Riven not cheesable.
Burn this bitch to the ground.
Make fucking the big ogre dude not able to be one phased. The only encounter that's not really power crept right now is Vault. Leave Vault the way it is and fix the rest of the and Vault and Shurochi. Vault and Shurochi's granted, Shurochi's problem is it's health gated. So that's less of a power creep issue and more of a health gate issue. So leave Shurochi and Vault alone and then fix the other 3 encounters and you're fine. Even Queen's Walk is pretty balanced in general. So fix Riven, fix Callie, and fix the ogre and you're fine. That's all you need to do is unpower creep Last Wish.
I don't know, man.
Remember what I said about the freaking Destiny 2 community and negativity right before the freaking podcast?
Yeah.
Okay. What you're proposing, removal of the cheeses, that would freaking send the D2 community into a spiral to where they'd be all aboard the negative D train.
Man, but hey, wouldn't that be the ultimate? Wouldn't that be the ultimate moment of hey, now it's time to get good, boys? You want to talk all that mess about?
You're not wrong.
You want to talk shit about? Hey, yo,
I'm gonna be honest, and I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna speak truth to power right now.
Okay,
right?
Let's go.
You say you want that, but you don't want that. And I'm gonna tell you why you don't want that.
You're gonna give me shit for the fucking ribbon thing, aren't you?
First off,
I'm gonna sit back.
Fuck you. The way that we play this game is we want a fun time the first time, but then after that, I just want to get it done as quick as possible so I can pull that lever and then get my reward. The second that you make it to where every time I have to do this, I gotta go a 15-minute ride just to kill the boss. Back to old school King's Fall where you took 20 minutes no matter how fast you can do it. People are gonna stop playing it. They're like, fuck it, I don't give a fuck. I'll do it once per week.
That's what the wish wall is for. If you got a bitch part of the encounter, take your ass to the wish wall, make a wish, motherfucker.
I'm telling you, there's a reason why so few people have ever done a legit Riven. I am one of them. Sorry. I can say this now thanks to my bestest buddy Ninja. She took me through my very first legit Riven, and I feel like legitimately people are missing out. That encounter is gorgeous.
Almost definitely. It's awesome.
The fact that the fact that the player base has shown you, if I don't have to do this, I don't want to do it.
All they have to do is take away the hitbox and them toenails, and it would cause a riot.
That's kind of like Atrax and freaking Deep Stone Crypt. Freaking before I left, there was not that freaking cheese that we do the freaking one phase with the freaking parasite grenade launcher. I come back to Destiny 2, and that's the freaking go-to.
That's an interesting statement too, because the issue with Atrax specifically is Bungie power crept Atrax the day the raid came out with Lament, because you saw Lament dropped, everybody put on Lament for Atrax. Then one season of the Lost, and
I'm gonna tell you right now, even with freaking Lament coming out, you had to know that combo and you had to be freaking on top. Because my freaking day one raid team, Atrax was our bane of our fucking existence. We could not get past it, and we were on it for hours.
Right.
Atrax held a lot of teams hostage.
Most definitely. Right. And the thing about it is,
DPS check is ridiculous, bro.
It absolutely freaking was.
Yeah, and you only get 3 chances, 3 damage phases to get it done.
And the thing about it is, we don't even worry about the multiple chances to get it done now. But what I thought was funny was they gave you Lament in the first season. Then in the second season, they added Focusing Lens. The whole thing with Focusing Lens was you chuck a fucking Dustfield grenade at an Atrax, you send your fucking Thunder Crash Titan in, and it's over. That was season of the Chosen. Then season of the Splicer came in and was like, anarchy, 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 done. Like that was every freaking boss. So it's like Bungie unintentionally power crept one of their best raid mechanics
my
in
goddamn
Atrax
anarchy.
off rip because they kept power creeping the game with Lament and then Focusing Lens. I still think Focusing Lens was one of the best things they ever put in the game because it gave T Crash Titans the free reign to go ham, and it was just funny. Like I loved that season because it was like,
I'm gonna say this. If you want Bungie to freaking uncheese Revan, they need a Healthgate Atrax.
Ooh.
I was wondering if I was gonna get you with that one.
See,
and I'm gonna say,
I've said it before. I've said it before that I would love a Master Deepstone. Master Deepstone with Adept Deepstone weapons. Imagine if we had Adept, like Adept Deepstone weapons, Adept like mods and stuff like that. Like, do you know how feral the Destiny community would go to have? What's that fucking gun that I like the fucking machine gun? Imagine if we had Commemoration Adept. Commemoration Adept would cause havoc in the community. The DPS meta would shift. The status quo in the Destiny universe would go like that would go nuts.
I'm gonna be honest with you though.
All right, hit me.
Adept weapons aren't in a place where like I feel like
they should
with that heat.
They're not. And I 100% fucking agree with you.
You're right.
And this goes back to something that me and Pandas talked about, but I think we need to cover if we can on this podcast.
I think that'll be a good topic next week because once we get past the stuff with Farum and whatnot. So but
tune in next time. Remember that. Tune in next time.
I've been summoned.
But now let's move on to matter of fact, we'll save the Blackburn talk for a different episode because like it is sad that Joe Blackburn is departing, but we do have an awesome new person coming in as a game director, and there's good. We'll have that. Let's talk about the current state of Destiny 2. The current state of Destiny 2 as we have it right now with the PvE experience. I think something needs to be done about the reward system when it comes to the game. I understand Bungie had good intentions with upping the engram count for focusing because they were getting rid of legendary shards, but as many weapons that are available at Zavala right now, hell, somebody at Bungie thought they were creative and snuck Maid and Greedy into the legacy focusing at Zavala and didn't tell nobody. But it takes 3 engrams to do. So unless you're going to sit in the strike playlist or do a ton of nightfalls, you're never going to touch it. You're never going to go near it. And it's like, that's the one issue that I have with the strike playlist or just anything with GMs right now. Unless you want to pour your soul into it, it is such a grind to do that specific level of content. Versus with Gambit, there's always like Gambit's always a toss-up, whether it's a good game or a bad game or what's going to happen. Same thing with Crucible. I don't know how many times. I think I've reset Shaxx 22 times this season because of just playing trials and stuff like that.
I'll be honest with you. Like, Shaxx is looking for me. That motherfucker's like, where'd that guy go?
Trust me. Trust me. Hey, look, I've been absent from the Shaxx roll call for freaking 3 seasons now. Okay,
Crucible beckons Guardian. We need more like veterans now more than ever.
He calling me, goddammit.
And I'm like, hey, I'm freaking skipping class. Mara, take my freaking spot. I'm out.
Right,
gone.
But that's the big issue. I feel like specifically with PvE, with the strikes and nightfalls, is that if we're gonna be continuing this whole you need 3 engrams to focus one gun thing. There needs to be more ranks given for strikes in Nightfall specifically because feels like you're never
on that. I just thought about this because you just made a point that I don't feel like a lot of people truthfully think about.
Okay, go for it.
That like the fact that they made that like barrier I call it a time sink, right?
Yeah.
Because anybody can get 3 engrams and be done with shit, right? It's because, or at least this is my logic here, is that Bungie's like, look, if we just make it 1 engram, there's gonna be some Tom, Dick, and Harry out there who are gonna farm literally 100 fucking engrams in like the span of an hour. They're gonna fucking pencil push and crunch numbers on their calculator and figure out what is the fastest way to get engrams so that they can go back and farm whatever they want for 1 engram. That's 100 rolls an hour.
Exactly.
But here's my my counter to that. Look at someone like me who's a PvP fiend on the weekends who loves going to the lighthouse and whatnot. Look at someone like me who just last week, because it was 2 weeks ago, when it was the sniper was back in rotation again, we were at Dead Cliffs, and it was double trials points, double trials rank. Okay. I reset Saint and Shax 3 times a piece. Because of, and I ended up with 99 trials engrams and 99 Shacks at Crucible engrams. Versus, I have to slog so much effort in doing strikes. I have no control of how fast that goes. I like hell. Now that Lake of Shadows has been fucking put into a time sync of its own, like there's no way to knock that out that fast. So it's like, unless you have just speed engrams on crack, you have no way to access that. So it's very much like, I think the issue with strikes specifically is strikes shouldn't have a 3 engram system, because there's no way to speed run strikes anymore, especially with them adding battlegrounds to that playlist. That, like, unless you just have the most cracked team that can speed run like sub 15-minute GMs, even with the battlegrounds, there's no way to really like pound for pound knock out what you can do in Crucible or Gambit versus like straight up. Shax and Drifter will hand you engrams all day, but Zavala's over here like, Guardian, get the hell away from me! You ain't getting my guns. Like that's what you dealing with.
You better come back a little bit more.
I will say this: when it comes to the
give me your trials engrams, please. Hey Ninja, come play with me.
There should be a engram increase drop depending as you go up higher in the difficulty.
I think
if you go into the GM, you should at least bare minimum get anywhere from 3 to 4.
I can agree with that. Yeah, that makes sense
to me. But at the same time, they need to increase the quality of the weapon drops.
Ooh,
that too.
That's true, because here's the thing. Strike weapons specifically have been very hit or miss, because you have outliers like Strident Whistle or Positive Outlook. Like there's been kind of hit or miss, but then you look at I call it bootleg Revoker. They had a sniper rifle like last season that has this like big thick scope on it, but like it has the Revoker model, or like the Eye of Soul model, but it has this like giant freaking telescope lens. Like that thing has horrible perks, has no good loot, like instead of to go mess with it. But can you hit a dirty shot with it because of how big the scope is? Yes, you can. And but the problem with it is, hell, there was a hot minute where Strident Whistle was the only solar bow you could get in the game that was worth a damn, because of the fact that Tyranny of Heaven wasn't refreshed yet. So you like everyone, all the streamers and content creators kept saying, "Hey, go get you a Strident Whistle, motherfucker! I can't get one to drop. I can't focus one. Zavala's being a hoe. I can't fucking go get one of them damn things." So it's like that's the issue that I have with strikes, is that the time investment is not worth the reward, especially with where it being a hit or miss with that, but also with the rewards aren't always worth it. Versus with Saint and Shax, I fucking had 99 here, 99 here, fucking spammed until I got my good immortal, and spammed until I got my frozen orbit and checked out. And I'm already back up to 50 apiece. That's why come Tuesday, your boy about to get me a nice summoner if you catch my drift. So that's gonna be a nice time. But at the it makes sense for Shax and Saint and Drifter to have a 3 engram system, because they're so easy to roll the dice with. Versus with Zavala, you're spending like 15-20 minutes on one strike. You're sitting a half an hour on one battleground. So it's like the investment needs to be worth the reward, especially with strikes, I would say. Dungeons, Pit, Shadow Throne, and now Prophecy with this refresh. You need to give them master versions. Because especially if they are going to have the time investment. Hell, I took 2 lowlights through Prophecy last week. The only reason why we sat there more than 20 minutes was the freaking cube room because we couldn't figure out which way it was because fucking Tolan kept glitching. There was no reason to sit there.
Oh, like, Tolan can glitch?
Yeah, Tolan can glitch. Tolan just won't be there sometimes. You're like, which one did we hit? And it's like, what? So it's like, that's the big issue I have is like Master Prophecy would bake. Like, do you know how like the first 2 bosses can kill easy, like you can take out 3 Gallahorns, fucking murder the first boss, like have 2 T-Crash Titans, murder the second boss. Like the only threat in that dungeon is the final boss. So if you gave us a master, if you gave us a Master Prophecy, Prophecy would cook. You don't even have to like that. That would cause mass havoc in the community.
I'm gonna tell you right now that leads me to a conversation that I really want to fucking talk about right now.
Talk about it. Let's go.
And I've been.
We're on present day. Go for it.
And I've been sitting on this shit for a while. Bungie, your armor system's fucking ass. Ooh. And I'm gonna say that with all due respect and love. Your armor system's
I'm gonna come right behind him and tell him the weapon system is ass. Look,
okay, hold on. Weapon system, a whole different conversation.
That's a whole different. Let's stay on armor for a second. Let's stay on armor.
Okay, Bungie, I am happy that you finally are moving Artifice Armor outside of the PvE and bringing it into the PvP. And not only that, you did it in a system that is worth.
Should have been trials, but okay.
Worth doing. I agree. It should also be moved over to trials as well. It needs to. If you're making it to the freaking lighthouse, you should be getting Artifice Armor.
Because
I fucking said it. Because I don't PvP. Yeah. I don't PvP. But guess what? Because of the changes that you're bringing to the table, it's bringing my PvE main ass looking at PvP, be like, you know what? Now that's my worth. Now that's worth my time and investment.
Because here's the hot discussion.
Hold on.
Wants to hear. There's no reason to even like as many engrams as you can get from Shax or from Saint. There's no reason to even pick up a piece of Trials armor once you've made it into ornaments. There's no reason to even touch it. The minute you transmog it, what's the point of having a piece of Trials armor? No reason, because the stats are horrendous. If they fix the stats on these fucking weapons,
and that's where I'm going with this. Bungie, take your armor system, baseline it, okay? World drop. All your world drop stuff needs to be the same average. Nothing higher than, like, let's say 60. But don't give it much curve, right? But when you start getting into some of your mid-tier content, like your Nightfalls, your competitive playlists and such, even some of your seasonal content, start giving it some curves, give it some spikes, make it worth for the mid-tier player to start, getting those 100s, right? Now let's start focusing on the freaking end game content. This is your dungeons. This is your freaking raids. And then your master content, okay? This is also going to be your competitive playlist and also your trials. This is where you need to start giving that armor. It's got to be fucking super curvy, okay?
It's got to, because there's no reason to wear it.
Freaking curvy. But not only that, Bungie, take your Artifice Armor. Lock it down. Nothing lower than a 65. Nothing lower than a 20 and a spike. End of the fucking discussion. Make Artifice Armor worth grinding for. Okay? But put it in the master raids. Put it in all the fucking master dungeons. Put it in Trials of Osiris. Stop giving seasonal armor these super thick freaking spikes. Okay? Yes, you're making it easier for your casual players to get their first 100 or even double 100. That's great.
But also,
you gotta make the Artifice Armor worth going for. The raid and end game armor worth fucking going for, not just another dismantle.
And the thing about it is, like, the big thing that me and Ferrum keep running into on streams and on chats is the big issue of people wonder, where do you get high stat armor from? The hell?
Seasonal.
If you don't go to the helm, you ain't you ain't going nowhere. And here's the other caveat to that whole system: unless you go to the helm and focus it, it ain't gonna be that high stat armor. Because if you do a random coil, that wish armor is ass. That wish armor is ass. They built the secret sauce into the vendor, not into the overall system of play. So it's like it definitely needs to be addressed. It definitely needs to have some fixes going on there.
You know what? I'm gonna go along and say, hey, Bungie, stop tying these armor like set bonuses to the vendor, please. I would vastly appreciate that. Like every time, like I don't even go for the seasonal armor anymore. Like honestly, like I got my double 100 in my resilience and my discipline, and I'm good. But
I don't want to hear from you, Mr. Zero Recovery.
I don't need it. I got fucking restoration and I got devour.
That was weird. TikTok was trying to tell me they were gonna end the live because of silence. I'm like, no, we're still live here.
TikTok Live Studio, that's a whole different ballgame. I'll talk to you about it after.
Okay, that's weird.
But honestly, yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. It's like Bungie needs to standardize their freaking their armor drop across their content and give us a reason outside of just weapon chasing to freaking go after armor.
Well, like it even goes back to something they said.
That's part of one equation out of this freaking whole mess of a game. Like, don't get me wrong, I love this mess of a game because at times it's chaotic as fuck and I'm down for it. Right. But then there's other points of time where my ADHD autistic butt is like, Bungie, come on. I can't be the only one seeing that you got no freaking order or organization with your stuff.
Well, like, and one thing that always killed me is like I remember when the whole controversy of the Lightfall like Twid thing, where like before Blackburn had to come out on Twitter with his video where that the state of the game where they said, hey, the reason why you didn't get a new seasonal armor is because A, you don't wear it for the stats and you don't wear it for how it looks. So why should we make you one? And it's like, well, Bungie, if you made us something cosmetically pleasing and it had good stats, maybe somebody would wear it. So it's like,
thank you.
It would very much fit. That's why whenever I get like Crucible armor from Shax or like armor from Drifter, I'm like, I don't wear this. This ain't worth my time.
No, because that freaking armor looks like something like from freaking Halo 3 ODST. Okay, that was good at one point in the game. But hey, Bungie, since I'm talking about that, and I'm gonna bring it up for a second freaking time, go look at Helldivers and see what they're freaking doing and try to bring that into freaking PvE. Just saying.
Oh, man.
Hey, you can even go to Fortnite round and start bringing in some cool ways to engage. Which brings me to another point, but I'll let you finish. Go ahead.
Bungie has so many freaking points of interest. Okay, Europa, Neomuna, the Moon, Nessus, Dreaming City. Okay,
Nessus, what's that?
Some of that shit.
What's Nessus? Exactly. I don't know what Nessus is.
You've got so many freaking locations.
You don't remember
that you can sit there and turn into an esque type of Helldivers environment where you send Guardians for an operation. They've got to hit an objective, okay? And you can actually scale the content to whatever difficulty you want. And guess what? You increase the rewards the higher you go.
And here's something and the thing is, they kind of touched on this with Season of the Splicer with those those world events they had as the seasonal activity. But here's the thing. If they had a system on every planet similar to how we have a fucking Discord bot to tell us when a Vex incursion is gonna be, if there was like a House of Light, like granted, fucking Aramis has left the system in the lore, but if there was like the House of Light are causing trouble on Europa, the Vex are invading on Europa again, or like the Vex are on Nessus causing problems. The Cabal are doing this, yada yada. Like, have us a reason to go to I'ma say it to the cows come home. Hey yo, Bungie, do you realize half your New Life population doesn't know who the hell Failsafe is?
Bingo!
Why would they? She hasn't played a role since like year one.
Forsaken?
since year one at bare minimum, like that's why it's like you realize your population has no idea who failsafe is. Like that's a problem.
But that's more of a problem because like Bungie doesn't use their assets. We've had this conversation a couple times. Like they got a lot of shit.
And I'm gonna say this.
I'm
I'm also gonna say is that it's also because of the fact that Bungie has had to make decisions based upon their engine, the longevity of the game, and their development cycle. They had to cut content. Yes, I know that this is a controversial freaking discussion, but I'm gonna say this to the community. A lot of y'all don't really dig deep into this, and a lot of y'all don't do your freaking research. That when it comes to development and you make major engine changes, this changes a lot of factors. And when you do that, you're gonna have to look at cost versus the reward of investing in the return of investment. If it's not worth it, meaning it's going to be detrimental to the overall project, you're going to have to make decisions. And that is what the game director and corporate had to freaking review and analyze. How much investment do we have to make into this in order to keep this content because of this major engine change? Long story short, we don't have the full-on answer.
Here's the hot ticket that's gonna trip you up the occasion. I'll give my whole fucking stash of glimmer. I will take Brother Vance, or I will take a static location where Anna Bray is over fucking failsafe any day of the week. You could have left. You could have left us Mars. We have since Beyond Light. It has been like what 3-4 years now. We still have not seen Mercury return, and yet every weekend Guardians go to the lighthouse and they say, "Oh, it's just a simulation." I'm like, motherfucker, what? Like I still say to this day. To this motherfucking day, the Infinite Forest is one of the biggest missteps Bungie gave up on, because the Infinite Forest is literally infinite. You could have had so much cool shit with it, and yet you just gave up on it. That literally could have been where all of your dungeons are. Where, like, hell, I even said, fuck Spire of the Watcher. Do you know what could have been I had been saying for the longest time I wanted a Vex dungeon. Do you know what that season could have been? Pull up on Mercury, Infinite Forest dungeon. That's always a procedurally generated changing dungeon. That could have been so awesome. And the thing is, I will take Brother Vance over failsafe any day of the week. I will die on that hill.
I'm gonna keep it a buck.
Ooh, talk to me.
Okay. Infinite Forest was the precursor to Coil.
Ooh.
And hold on. And if they would have actually done Infinite Forest right, you would have never had to have any freaking seasonal content, because then at that point you'd have the one location you could use the simulated forest for your freaking content and your freaking stuff.
Ooh,
you know
imagine if after Lightfall they bring back the Infinite Forest, and that's how they keep a Coil-esque system in the game for returning players, where the Infinite Forest is where you go for every type of thing, where that's your permanent Coil, that's their fallback plan, an infinite Coil right there where you can constantly go back to, and like, hey, let St. Osiris go run it. Let them have their fun. Making a PvE equivalent to Trials where you can go get high stat this, high stat that, more Ascendant Shards, whatever the fuck you want. The Infinite Forest is a permanent destination where you go get cool shit. I would be all about it. I've been saying since day one that the Infinite Forest was the biggest waste that Bungie ever made. Because as someone who loves dungeon crawlers, that was the biggest misstep, was giving up on the Infinite Forest, because that's your infinite dungeon that you can refresh whenever you want to. That was the cool thing about Halloween, where you go do that shit.
Implementation wasn't very good.
I'm gonna say this about Bungie. Okay, I love Bungie. Don't get me wrong. I love their storytelling. But when it comes to some of their content, I put them in the same category as I put Blizzard. Okay, when it comes to World of Warcraft. World of Warcraft has so much throwaway content in every freaking single expansion that there's no reason after an expansion to go back and go do that content. The same thing applies with Destiny 2. And this is a problem, especially with other games that still make those freaking systems relevant. I'm looking at you, Final Fantasy 14. They do such a great job. Yes, after expansion drops in 14, if you go back and go do the raid, the armor and the weapons aren't going to be relevant for the content, but a lot of it is still worth grinding. Why? Well, in that case, because of that system, fashion is the end game. Okay.
Yeah.
And then not only that, the story, and Diva knows what I'm talking about. The story wise in Final Fantasy 14 is absolutely phenomenal. Don't get me wrong. Destiny, phenomenal story. But so much of it is put off into the side in the weapons and the armor and the story that you got to do in the season. It's like, come on, Bungie.
You want to know what's funny and why Cage is making a great point right now? I'll give Bungie a lot of credit for how they brought back Mars and Titan. But what's one thing in the Mars battleground and in the Mars mission that's still there that you can show as a big sign of laziness on Bungie's part sometimes?
Yeah.
The pyramid is still in the backdrop of the Mars battleground, but not on Titan during the intro mission of Season of the Deep.
Yep.
That's the funniest shit that has always cracked me up. Whenever the Mars battleground is in rotation, the pyramid is still there, and it cracks me up every time.
There's no time for that. You got no time for that. That's wasted dev time, don't you know? You want to do content, right?
All right.
You overlook some of this shit.
So raids, real quick. Let's talk about raids real quick. Bungie, this once a week farm simulator thing you keep doing is getting old. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have Last Wish, Garden, Deepstone, Vogue, Kingsfall, Crota, Vow, Ron. Of the 8 raids. 8 raids currently in the rotation.
We got a lot of raids, and at this point,
8 raids in the rotation. You have 2 raids that have yet to be reprised in terms of loot, in terms of craftability. I think straight up, Bungie needs to either make them all farmable all the time, or make it to where there's 2 in the rotation.
Yes.
4 weeks in a month.
Yes.
Put 2 raids in the rotation. Because
I agree. There needs to be 2. There needs to be 2 per week. At this point, we're at the point where it needs to be 2 per week.
Yeah.
Because I mean,
look what happened with Ron, where like they had to put Ron back in the rotation because people were worried they wouldn't be able to get conditional before final shape, and this was pre the delay. They were worried they weren't going to be able to get conditional before final shape, so they had to put it back in the rotation, only for final shape to get delayed.
Yep. Honestly, at this point, Bungie, it's like, look, you know, what's it really going to hurt? You're going to have to worry about one more pinnacle for your non-1810 individuals. One extra for, well, no, it doesn't give it an exotic engram.
I mean,
No,
it's
gives
like
you a pinnacle.
so
pinnacles don't even matter anymore.
Yeah, pinnacles don't even fucking matter. So like the only thing that they're holding us back from is farming. Like that's the only thing stopping motherfuckers from, is the farming. And also, Bungie, listen to me. Bungie, listen to me real quick.
Give me nightclubs.
Make garden farmable with red borders. I need craftable garden.
You already open up Pandora's box with the freaking red border weapons. You might as well go ahead and do it, Bungie. You know,
make garden farm craftable and make Vogue craftable. That way, all 8 raids are craftable, and it shuts everybody up. Will it piss off the PvP mains that the craftable found verdict is better than found verdict time lost? Yes, but on paper, I think to this day, you would have such an influx of people going into garden for craftable shit, because look at it. Look what just happened
All right.
with look what just happened with Last Wish, where they made so many weapons meta. Think about how to this day PvP mains say Prophet of Doom would be a monster if they could put a slide shot on it instead of slide ways. Look at Reckless Oracle being one of the best in its class, but because it has shit perks, it doesn't do anything. Look at the pulse rifle. The pulse rifle was one of the first pulse rifles to get Headseeker, but because it can't compete with the other pulse rifles in its class, it's been left behind. It's not the only aggressive frame anymore, so you need to give it new life. The hand cannon would be amazing to compete with other arc hand cannons. Actually, I think it's kinetic. So like you would see a competition between Fatebringer and that hand cannon to see what would be better, because I think the hand cannon is 180 and the sniper. I'll tell you what, I saw the funniest thing. That sniper is ass, but I saw someone in trials last week with 30,000 kills on that sniper, and I cracked the fuck up. So like, if they gave Garden the treatment that it needs,
30,000.
Yeah, on the Garden sniper, I was laughing my ass off. So like, if they would give Garden the love it needs, you would see that Garden sniper be about the same way that everyone trips about the Last Wish sniper. You would see so much love go down for that shit. And I think also the big thing that needs to happen with these reprises, you fix problems with the raid, i.e., hey Bungie, do you notice that Cali is still cheesable? Let's fix that. Or hey Bungie, Garden still has a problem where moats can get stuck in the stairs on third encounter. Can we fix that a little bit? Like that would fix a lot of or like the hitbox issues with the final boss. Like there's certain things that you could easily fix with these reprises, like that would make them quality of life changes, and then you could introduce Master Garden, Master Last Wish, and things would cook. I'm telling you, Master Gambit Simulator, I'm in, bro, all day, every day.
And I'm also gonna say this, since we're talking about bringing craftable weapons to these other raids, I'm gonna keep it an absolute freaking buck.
Let's go.
Talk to me.
Bungie, craftable weapons, remove the enhanced perks.
Yes.
Remove them.
Yes.
Remove them.
Yes.
Because right now, there's absolutely no reason except for using adept mods to go for adept weapons.
I think that's just a problem with adept weapons, though. Adept weapons have always been really not that good unless you're like Diva and you like adept.
Sorry, with the system that they got for Ron, where you can go get an adept weapon, okay, by completing the challenge, and that adept weapon has the ability to be enhanced, and you can swap out some of the perks. To me, that's what adept weapons should be. They should have the enhanced perks. They should be the pinnacle for the weapons that you go for. The crafted weapon should make it for ease of use for your standard player, your casual player to chase for. For your higher skill players, they should be chasing for the adepts.
I'll even throw the curveball at you. For raids specifically, if we're keeping raids craftable, make all raid red borders 10. I've said that before, and I will agree with that. They need to fix the freaking raid armor. They need to give us a reason to freaking actually care for getting a piece of raid armor instead of just be like, oh, dismantle. Right now it's legendary shards. Oh, that's glimmer. No, Bungie.
I hate to be the dissenting voice.
Give us a reason to fucking look at that piece of armor that we got instead of a freaking weapon.
Like, bro, like you ain't doing nothing in King's Fall except for transmogging that armor.
So here's the thing, though. Here's the thing, right? And I hate to be the dissenting voice here. Y'all make me sound like I just love Bungie out here, man. But honestly, a lot of this is just time sink for time sink's sake, right? You want it to take more time so that you inherently make things more valuable, but all you're really doing is time sinking it and then making it worse for the people that come behind you. Like up front, sure, 10 doesn't sound that bad, right? But look at all the people catching hell trying to get their 5 fucking borders for the fucking Callus mini tool right now.
Man,
Okay, all right. So I'm gonna fucking touch on that. Okay, it's
that's
great
more of a
that
deep side harmonizer problem than an issue. Also,
that, and also the fact that right now, if you go look at Presage and the amount of weapons, if you don't have the freaking red borders from those previous seasons, last year's seasons, okay, I'm sorry, Witch Queen seasons, like me, and trying to go get the 5 Callus mini tools when you've got a fucking weapon selection like this that is completely random. Yeah,
bro.
Good
look at
luck.
Seraph's Shield, where Seraph's Shield had the Ikilos weapons and the Seraph weapons. Like that shit is bulk.
Yeah, the only saving grace for me was the fact that I came back at the tail end and I was catching a lot of the red borders from Seraph's Shield to where when it came back in rotation, I didn't have that long of a laundry list. But with Presage, it's freaking thicker than a Snickers, you know? It's like, come on, Bungie.
Now if they added
increase the drop rate for the red borders past the 2 guaranteed runs.
Or my counter to that is
the whole point.
If you're my counter to that is, especially because of how long Seraph's Shield is and Presages and the other one,
Presage is I'm gonna say this right now, Presage is freaking fast. I can do that
to a certain extent.
I can do that in 10. I can do that in 10 on my warlock.
So for Seraph's Shield specifically, given how much bulk there is,
yeah,
I would say specifically we should introduce a vendor, either a vendor or an engram that always stays at the helm, for especially with the rotation we're about to see with Final Shape, and we're losing all of these, and they're gonna want to shove all these exotic missions into the rotator, making there always be a vendor at the helm where you could go put in a helm engram to focus these previous seasons. That would have like a once a week or once a day like red border or red border thing. That way it gives an alternative, especially if you're gonna put look what happened with like I just said with Seraph Shield, where you have hand cannon, SMG, sniper, and shotgun, plus pulse rifle, trace rifle, linear, and whatever the fuck else was with Seraph. All of that. Plus, you look at Season of the Haunted, you had all the old shit plus all the new shit. That grind is excessive.
So now you're starting to see my point.
Quad, take your toxic ass out of here.
Hey, Quad's gonna be on mic next week, so you better get.
Oh, trust me, I'm gonna be saying it to his face. I said what I said.
Quad kicks in the chat, make it so 2.0 KDs or higher can only obtain red borders. That'd be fucking horrible.
Oh my
God. Kiss my grits.
But so like I really feel like,
and I say that from a sub 1 KD.
Like, I'm proud of my little 1.8 KD. Look, you can kiss my ass. I'm sorry.
So like I think like if we're gonna keep doing this thing where we keep vaulting seasonal content, there needs to be a helm vendor that you can go focus previous season weapons. Because truth be told, because look at this season. You really think that motherfuckers are gonna want to go keep doing Star-Crossed for all of this season's weapons and the season of the Shadow Key season worth of content to get all those red borders? Oh no, son.
So
now you're starting to see my point.
So I'm gonna say that. I'm gonna say this. I like the current system with the exotic mission rotator. I think it's good. I think they can improve it.
Yes.
I think they can up the red border turnout, number 1, per run, and then number 2, past the second one, increase the percentage of possibility. Because if memory serves me right, first one's a guarantee, second one's a 50-50. It could still be a guarantee, but after that, it's down to like 5%. No.
Damn.
Bump the numbers up, Bungie. Bump it up.
I'm just saying, give us a vendor at that point. Just give us a fucking vendor. Like especially if we're going to keep adding more exotic missions. Because here in a minute, we're about to have the same problem that we have with raids right now, where you're going to have Vox Obscura, Precious, and Seraph Shield. And then you're going to have, Star-Crossed, plus the
Vexcalibur.
plus
Starcross,
Vexcalibur,
Vexcalibur, Wicked
and-
Implement.
and Wicked Implement. And bro, Wicked Implement as a season,
Uh,
all
run
of the
that
season
just
of the
for-
deep
just to help
weapons
people.
and the old Gambit weapons, man, oh man, that's gonna be a bitch and a half. Granted, is with the Wicked Implement mission kind of fast because it's on a timer, yes. But like the amount of work someone's gonna have to do to put in the effort for those many seasons, man, I think there needed to be a vendor for the exotic mission specifically. Now with the March update, I think Bungie has a great opportunity, and also with the April update, Bungie has a great opportunity to fix a lot of core issues. I would be really happy if I woke up Tuesday and Garden was farmable. That's all I'm gonna say. I think the reprising of prophecy is a great step where we're getting some new weapons back, but they should have also announced Master Prophecy. There needs to be equivalent refreshing of the content because truth be told, they're putting the new auto rifle at first encounter. Bro, did you know that if you have Navigator and any strand character, you don't even need to do no crazy sparrow tricks anymore. You can just go plink and then just grapple your way out the first tube and be at the first boss and then take some Galahorns and melt that motherfucker. The prophecy is a joke. So here in a minute, you're about to see so many LFGs of people going, "Hey, Prophecy Farm, come get your free auto rifle, your free pulse rifle." Like, I really feel like there should be a system where we refresh stuff and anti-power creep it, where there should be no reason where I should be able to dunk these motes in the light and dark so fast, and then take my freaking rocket launcher and melt this boss that fast. Like, granted, can you melt the first boss in Warlords pretty efficiently? Yes, but at the same time,
Efficiently hit that motherfucker with 3 or 4 shoulder charges and he's dead.
yeah. But at the same time, Prophecy has needed new life for a hot minute. Same thing with Shattered and same thing with Pit. You need to pump some new gas in them things for this new farm to be worth it. Because truth be told, that people are already saying the new SMG, the new auto rifle, and the new pulse rifle are about to be gas. Like, people are already speculating if regardless of how the perks are, the new SMG is about to be stronger than fucking Immortal. So you gonna have motherfuckers that want to go in there and grind that content, but it's just gonna be melt boss, go to orbit, go back down, melt boss over and over again, and Bungie's gonna be like, why the fuck do we even reprise this shit if everything was just gonna melt it? Like, there's no reason, like it's just gonna be a freaking meltathon. And it's like,
I mean, but what can you really do to stop that outside of intentionally time sinking things, which is just not fun to go up against?
That's
like,
fair.
hey, I'm gonna implement like damage gates on every boss solely so that you guys can't
honestly,
that's not
they
fun.
might need to, but more or less, Bungie does need to address it. They do need to address the power creep that has happened with a lot of the older content, and at least tell us, hey, we're gonna address it, we're gonna look into it, or it's not worth our time and investment. Let us know.
Like, if you're gonna pull a gambit, pull a gambit. Like, don't just not tell us. Pull a gambit. Be upfront. Tell us we don't have time for that. Just be real with it.
Hey, look, Gambit was not that bad, man. Gambit just
I've been saying for the longest time
wasn't there. I'm sorry.
I've been saying for the longest time Bungie abandoned Gambit when they had an esport on hand. I still believe my conspiracy theory that Activision wanted an esport to compete with Overwatch, and they made Bungie invent Gambit. I will die on that hill. That's my conspiracy theory, that Gambit was meant to be an Overwatch competitor, and they said, "Oh, we don't really care about this now that we've left Activision," and they let it die. They screamed like the little short dude from Lorax, "Let it die, let it die." They didn't care. They gave you some ammo.
I have to agree.
They gave you some ammo
crates,
and they left it alone.
And don't get me wrong. I am one that still loves Gambit from time to time.
Same.
I love Gambit in smaller bursts than I do love PvP right now.
I'll
Right
tell you
now.
what, if Drifter wouldn't have become popular, Gambit would have been erased a long time ago. And I'll die on that hill. If Drifter wouldn't have caught on and been a fan favorite, Gambit wouldn't even be in the game right now. And that's a fact, Jack. I'll tell you right now.
I don't know. So the way I look at it is, like, you have the amount of time it takes for a dev to actually create something, to think of it, dev time versus payoff, player enjoyment. Gambit, I'm gonna be honest with you, as somebody who got into PvP through Gambit and feeling confident in like invading, and like that boosted my confidence to push me back into the Crucible, I'm telling you right now, the shit that it would take, excuse my language, the things that it would take to make Gambit worthwhile for me to go back and play it at this point, Bungie might as well, like, there's not enough time. There's not enough dev time. And it's definitely going to hurt the Crucible side and the PvE side. Because you're going to need new bosses, new arenas, a fucking new enemy type, or something.
All they need to do to make motherfuckers care about Gambit again, I said it before, put the maps back, put back Gambit Prime for people who want Gambit Prime, and standardize a sandbox specifically for Gambit. Because here's the thing. In concept, Gambit has proven to be a success, i.e., Hunt Showdown. Look at Hunt Showdown. It's literally Gambit first person, where you hunt down a boss and you fight enemy teams around you. Like Crytek has already proven that Gambit can be a success as its own game mode. Oh, yeah. But Bungie doesn't want to put the work in, because I genuinely think Bungie never wanted to make Gambit. They didn't want to do it. It was forced upon them by Activision.
Hold on. I'm going to say this about Gambit, but at the same time, I also want to say this because I want to piss somebody off, and he's still in freaking chat. Quad, I hope you hear this when I say this. One of my favorite times playing Gambit Prime was the fact of the armor system. The fact that the armors gave us subclasses within subclasses for freaking Gambit. Now, the other good thing about the freaking armor system, because at the time when that system was out, was also a time that 100s meant shit.
And why? You know it's
because the freaking bell curve. There was a bell curve, funny. And the higher you went, the less return of investment. Bungie needs to approach that once again.
And what's funny about that is all those armor sets that like had their own extinction and roll, they all just sit at Drifter now for armor focusing from Transmog. It's real funny. You can go get all 3-4 colors, whether it be red, green, yellow, whatever, at Drifter right now for Transmog, and Bungie don't give a shit. It's funny.
Honestly, I loved that part of freaking Gambit Prime. The fact that you could sit there, go play Gambit, take your freaking hard-earned currency and go invest it in this armor that now is going to benefit you even more for the role that you were going to be playing inside Gambit Prime.
I agree.
That right there needs to be something that should be part of every or some piece of content. I'm looking at you, Dungeons. I'm looking at you, Raids. Freaking how many other MMOs do we see that have class sets in the end game content, either for that specific current raid, or in the case of Destiny, because all the raids are kind of still relevant, which is a really unique thing inside the freaking MMO sphere. You've got options, you got variety, but make them in such a way that this season, because of the seasonal artifact, this set now pops off. Next season, the artifacts change. This set's now popping off.
Well, not only that. Look at something like Garden or Kingsfall, where like or Deepstone, where certain armor mods actually help you with flawlesses. If you want to go flawless for Garden, you need a good set of that armor. The problem with those armors, though, the stats are ass. So if you had
and they're absolutely worthless outside of the raid.
Because if you look at things I remember like the first week that King's Fall came back out, that people were like, hey, make sure you have a class item from King's Fall because one of the mods made it so you had damage resistance while you were taking while jumping on the plates. So you were, because those witches were pains in the ass, so you could jump across the plates and take less damage, especially when you were Sherpaing the content, because that way people who were nervous about having to be taken during the encounter, they wouldn't be one shot by the freaking witches. So if you had or same with Garden, being near the tether point gave you damage resistance, or with Deep Stun, I believe, if you were operator or whatever the fuck else, you had damage resistance. So if Bungie makes the stats matter and makes those mods matter, people would seek out those armor sets. But they don't, because there's no reason to chase them.
And that's because they're useless outside of the raid. Give me something like Taken Spec. Like, give me something that I can use in, like, give me stuff from the raid that I can use in the base game.
I go back to what I say. Bungie needs to diversify the armor, but also standardize the freaking armor to where, stuff that I pick up from the freaking, world locations. Yeah, that should be for base light new players and new lights. But if I start going into the mid-tier game, there should be incentives for going after stuff like that, to grow up. And then when I start doing end game content, raids, master dungeons, master raids, master dungeons, etc., Trials of Osiris competitive, Artifice armor, high stats.
There should be no reason why Artifice armor shouldn't be a master, hands down. Like, Artifice armor should have been in master raids from jump if they were going to keep doing that shit. Like, the minute Master Val came out, Artifice armor, Master Vogue, Artifice armor. They didn't have the brain cell to be like, hey, yo, these people are going to be wanting to grind these master raids for this adept weapon. Maybe we should make the armor be worth it. Like, they said, hey, it'll be high stat, bitch, wear.
But at the same time, I'm gonna say this: Bungie needs to look at the freaking bell curve on the stats.
Yes,
they need to bring back that heavy bell curve that used to be in the game. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, at one point, I think it was at 70%. At 70, so tier 7 on the stat armor. Anything past that, the return of investment was severe. To where you had it was more worthwhile to chase after other stats after a certain point, to where, the only ones that ever went for tier 1 or tier 10 were the freaking sweats, were the freaking low mans. They were the ones that went after the tier 100. But
now you made it a requirement now.
Right, because they removed that bell curve. And to me, Bungie needs to bring that back.
I would say we don't.
But when they do, they need to address the overall armor system, because think of it like this:
fix mobility.
What if? I'm gonna say that too. Fix mobility as well. But think of it like this, Panda. What if they put in that bell curve, right? And then they address the armor issue. Now is very much more plausible for people to get multiple, like, let's say 70s.
Yeah.
And then with the ability to make a couple of changes, you now got, let's say you're doing low man content, you could do 100s. Quad, shut your mouth.
Well, like, let me give credence something Quad said.
I saw Quad come in.
Yeah. Like Quad said, Quad 100 is mandatory. I'm gonna give credence to something Quad said previously. There should, similarly to how there's an emphasis on 100 resilience, there should be a reason to want to run 100 mobility besides strafe speed. There should be a reason to want to run 100 recovery besides just you getting back your health faster. Because that's one thing that a lot of hunters have complained about for so long, is that, yes, Titans have are needed 100 resilience to get their barricades back faster. Same thing with hunters and mobility. Same thing with warlocks and their rift. But there's a reason to run 100 resilience because of the damage resistance. There's no other reason to run 100 mobility. There's no other reason to run 100 recovery. There should be reasons where, like, we should be looking at the stat thing a stat situation where the whole point of an RPG is to want to build, craft, and have different elements. There should be reasons to run different like stat requirements beyond just, oh, I get my class ability back faster. If we actually examine that, it would give hunters a reason to have lower resistance and have a trade-off for like higher mobility back to get their dodge back, plus an added incentive or plus an added thing for recovery. It would make build crafting be more worth it.
So I'm gonna say this next bet, and I've been sitting here stewing on this for a long time. And you talking about the whole resilience thing kind of hit the nail on the head.
Ooh.
Oh dear, let's put it in the coffin.
The damage reduction needs to be its own specific stat. Remove it off of resilience.
Okay, Salty Grandpa, calm down.
Hold on.
Don't do my boy that way. Don't do it like that.
Hold on. But in its place, give the incentive for going for resilience, increased health.
I'll throw you even better
because
one.
Then
just put class ability its own stat. Make class ability its own stat.
They need to just fix the whole fucking system. The whole fucking system needs to be changed.
Because that was something I said back when Salty Grandpa first said that
you know what?
That damage resistance should have been nerfed. Make class ability its own stat. That way, hunters don't have to don't have to worry about running 100 mobility if they have to, or recovery, or vice versa. Make class ability its own stat. That way, if you want to focus on class ability, cool, make focus on class ability. But similar to airborne effectiveness, make your different armor pieces or your different exotics factor to your class ability rather than your armor mod. Make it so your armor or your exotics focus on that, because look at Stompies give you like different ability, or like Lion Rampants give you a ton of airborne effectiveness. Why shouldn't they give you class ability synergy? Look at Saint 14 Helm, it focuses on bubble. Why shouldn't that give you more class ability energy, or vice, or that, like hell, sight and ramparts, that friggin' exotic like got hit so hard because of people using it in PvP. What if in PvE, it gave you more class ability energy for you shooting through it? Like, there would be ways to actually make that worth it.
So like in the case, so going back based on that logic, would you agree that they should even look at something like, let's say, Sun Bracers for Warlock? That should be more synergy to the grenade stat versus class item. Exactly. To me, that type of system
or armamentarium. For that matter, armamentarium gives you more discipline stat.
Yeah, to me that type of stuff makes sense.
System. I think they kind of have that already rolled into the armor system. But
the problem is that in PvE right now, outside of the top three bucket, the top bucket, the three stats: mobility, resilience, and recovery. There's absolutely no reason to prioritize mobility and recovery first. Resilience.
Here comes the bucket system. Quas and have a panic attack.
It's always resistance.
It's always right now, depending upon your build. Resilience is your. Sorry, my phone's going off because of alarms. Resilience is your primary. First off, no matter where you are in the skill range. Depending upon the kind of thing you're doing, resilience is number one. Number two is going to be dependent upon your build. Okay? If it's grenade focused, discipline. If it's melee focused, strength. There's absolutely almost no reason to do intellect unless you're trying to reduce or increase the chance of you getting your super back, i.e., let's say you're running something like Celestial Nighthawk, because precision damage. Precision kills return super energy. You increase that by dumping into intellect. You're gonna get it back faster to where you're gonna be able to freaking one-shot shit, quicker than heck.
But here's the thing about it, because of how fast.
But after that, there's almost no reason.
Because orbs of power drop so fast now. There's no reason to even worry about it. You get your super back. You can run.
But no, what I was just saying, outside of double 100s for your average player, there's no reason to chase. There's no reason to chase for a triple or a quad. There's no reason unless you're doing low man content.
So give low stats man or purpose.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I'm saying Bungie needs to look at bringing back the bell curve.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Okay, so I'm gonna leave the PvP talk to next week with Ferrum because like we've kind of already touched on some things like the Artifice armor. I'm gonna leave the passions of persistence talk until after it goes live. Short and sweet. I'm gonna say it because we're live. I already talked about it on stream previously. But if you have beef with the passions of persistence, you are a gatekeeping piece of shit, and you have no purpose here. Okay, cool. Bye.
I agree.
Because I triple that.
Like we gonna leave it at that now. Guardian Games All Stars because let's add a random extra colon to it for no fucking reason. I'm worried.
Give me my surfboard and let me ride.
The reason why I say I'm worried is because this is just gonna be a repeat of last year, where if they put supremacy in, you're gonna see people bitching, and it's gonna be like, brother, it's kill confirmed. Who cares? But also, they're adding a new metal type called Diamond type. And if I recall from the Twid, it said something about it's like a super rare, like you have to hit a specific point threshold to get it. And I was like, that's a interesting statement you just made there. Like it says the diamond medallions awarded by these are worth a lot and can change the course of the day. So they're limited to 3 a week. You can only get 3 diamond medallions a week. 2 of them are focused on endgame activities, 1 for PvE, 1 for PvP, and the 3rd is unique. It's a Twitch drop. So players better be sitting in this stream, baby, because you gonna get yourself a diamond medallion that's from watching your favorite streamer. If that ain't the most like watch to win type content Bungie's ever thrown in the devil's advocate. Like, holy shit. The casual player base is about to go feral.
Look, I'm a streamer. Okay, I'm a freaking streamer. And even I'm like, Bungie, what the fuck?
That's a dangerous road right there.
You are setting a fucking bad precedence with that one. And that's coming from a freaking content creator.
That's
and
a dangerous sentiment right there.
It's like, look, I get it. You're trying to bump up your numbers. Okay, cool. That's not the fucking way to go about it. You know how the fucking way you go about it? You actually put worthwhile fucking content that people want to fucking see. Not to go lurk for 2 fucking hours just to get a fucking diamond drop. I'm sorry, Bungie.
Now, granted, is this better than what they did before where you had to gift 2 subs to get an emblem? Yes, because it's only watch time. But at the same time, this could drastically change the week for a certain class just by watching a streamer. That's a dangerous game to play right there, Sonny Jim.
I'm gonna tell you right now, and I know that there's some people watching the podcast that are part of my community that watch my streams in the mornings. Guess what? My plans aren't changing. I'm gonna finish Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Once that's done, at that point, I'll be back at Helldivers. I'm going to be also playing Tears of the Kingdom. And I might do 1 stream a week of Destiny 2. 1, that's it. If I feel the content's worth going back to. Outside of that, it's going to be playing Destiny 2 when I have time. To me, it's like, great, you showed us that there's another tier for the medals. We've got the surfboard. Cool. Is there content and reason to come back?
Also, here's I love the way they put it in the thing. 1 for PvE and 1 for PvP. And it's end game activities.
Yes.
You know where that's gonna be? GMs and trials. GMs and trials. and
Hey,
you're
GMs aren't that hard.
gonna see
I
a
don't want to be that
lot of
bad.
casual players who are about to be real salty, where
I
they
don't-
say, "Hey,
I
yo, I
don't-
can't go to trials. I can't get a GM done. I'm losing
right.
out on that diamond medallion."
Hold on.
Mm,
I don't think Bungie's going to go that freaking hard. Okay, because let's be honest. Let's be honest. GMs are at a higher difficulty than, like, let's say a raid or a dungeon. If anything, Bungie's probably going to have a quasi. It can be either this, or this type scenario for the PvE. And I'm going to keep it a buck because of expectations with Bungie. Dungeon or raid is probably going to be the easiest one to do in order to freaking knock it out. You got your end game. You got your end game diamond.
Okay.
When it comes to the PvP, trials are competitive.
Okay. We'll see what
Complete
happens.
10 matches of trials this week. You
I
got
mean,
it.
that's the platinum medallion already is. That's how I farmed platinum medallions during Guardian Games last year. We're just playing trials.
I'm just gonna slap that motherfucker in there and then turn
All
the
right.
game off.
Well, like, since Watson wants to shout it out in chat, let's talk about Sonic Riders. I mean Destiny 2, because Bungie said, you know what, kids, we gotta wait till June for some things, but we don't have to wait till June for everything. Here's a new vehicle type, the Skimmer. After 10 years.
And hey,
new
I'm gonna tell you
vehicle
right
type.
now, Warframe players, guess what? Here's something interesting. Hoverboard's been around for a long fucking time. You're not the first game to fucking do it, and you're not the first piece of content or media to ever think about it. Back to the Future Part 2. I'm old enough to remember when it came out in theaters.
Bruh, if I had $1 for every time someone came through my chat and tried to tell me Warframe was better than Destiny 2, I'd be a rich motherfucker. Like, bruh.
Maybe I'd be able to afford a candy bar or something.
Like, bruh, brand loyalty doesn't mean a damn. If you like Warframe better than Destiny, good for you. Don't come through somebody else's chat and talk shit. Like, yay, you can run around and do parkour as a weird cyber creature. Cool, good for you. But does that mean you have to come to my neighborhood and cause problems? Like,
yes,
I saw
what this means.
Like, I saw someone come through my chat and say, "Hey, yo, the hoverboard is just from Warframe." I'm like, bitch. I remember turning up to some good ass cyberpunk lo-fi, running around in Sonic Riders. I don't need your damn Warframe. I got Sonic on a hoverboard. I don't got time for it. I used to run around with Jet and Wave and Storm. I don't got time for y'all motherfuckers. I used to be part of the Babylon Rogues, motherfucker. I don't got time for your Warframe. I used to be the GOAT. So, like, I'm gonna go play my Sonic Riders and have a great day. So that's what I'm gonna, like, you gonna hear me. I'm gonna hit you. Sonic speed. It's gonna be on. I'm gonna be making compilations. It's gonna be great. So, like, I don't give a fuck about no Warframe players. I'm gonna be jamming. So that's how, like, now, is it cool that after 10 years we're getting a new vehicle type? Yes. But does it feel real weird that they're dropping this a week after the original release date for Final Shape?
You know what?
Yeah.
That's what I've been thinking. It's been on my mind.
Okay, look.
You know, it's kind of suspicious. Like, oh, maybe this was planned for Final Shape, but not for right now, because it's a little suspicious. A week after the original release day, we getting a new vehicle type. If you know what I mean?
It's not coincidence. I guarantee you this is the case, because look at how they verbed some of the updates in the recent Twins.
Mm-hmm.
This was planned for Final Shape, but because we feel that it's ready, we're releasing now. I.e., we were going to get this originally because it was already planned for this time frame.
Mm-hmm.
This was supposed to come out in this update, and we can't.
Now, don't get me wrong. I'm glad that they're not keeping it till Final Shape. Good on Bungie for bringing it sooner.
Yep.
But now it's kind of like, well, Bungie,
I need y'all to cook with some heat later on. You gotta save some of that.
Exactly.
Heat.
It's like
they already gave us Dragon's Breath. The Dragon's Breath was originally planned for Final Shape 2. So it's like, how many more random little nuggets for Final Shape are we about to get before Final Shape doesn't have shit? Like,
exactly. It's like, how many hors d'oeuvres are you going to give us before you're going to bring us the entree and there's nothing?
It's like you can't. You got
entrees,
Olive Garden,
hors
Bungie. You can't give us soup and salad and breadsticks forever. Like y'all ain't got that. So, but also, let's talk about the rebirth of Edge Transit. I mean, the hullabaloo, because Bungie said, "Hey, y'all like power creep? Let's make it a heavy weapon." Because they said, "Hey, yo, forbearance." Hey, yo, undercurrent, let's make a big baby and call it the hullabaloo. Because they said we're since we're conveniently buffing the heavy waveframe GL because there's only one right now.
and
The one
nursing.
they're about to roll up in the cut with the hullabaloo, and not only are they saying, "Hey, yo, chain reaction in the 4th column, volt shot in the 3rd column," that's about to be nutty. Fucking just explosions on explosions.
It is going to be absolute freaking craziness. And I'm willing to make a prediction that the freaking Destiny 2 PvE endgame meta freaking sweats are going to start decreeing that if you use the hullabaloo, you're just like freaking people that use Thunderlord. You're weak. It's like, oh my god.
Hey, look, Thunderlord got me my day one, so I don't care what nobody say. Thunderlord's good with me.
And man, I'll be the one to say it. I don't give a fuck about Volt Shot. If this thing rolls out with auto loading in the 3rd column, I'll just be like, "Hey, yo, this is my heavy forbearance. I got auto loading in chain reaction. I don't gotta worry about nothing." I'm gonna be like, "Bow,
Look, a motherfucker could wish.
Like auto loading chain
but
reaction on a
Give
heavy
me
wave.
my anarchy back. That's all I'm asking.
I'm gonna say this. I wish, I hope, I pray, I don't expect it. Let there be rewind rounds in the 3rd column.
On a heavy? On a heavy?
No, they wouldn't do that.
They would never put rewind on a heavy GL.
It's on Avalanche. I got the goddamn gun.
That's a machine. That's a machine gun. Not a GL though. That's a machine gun.
Please let it happen.
That would be too much heat. That'd be too much heat.
That'd be too much heat.
That is the power creep. No other weapon would ever show up. They'd be like,
all right.
You want to go back to a mountaintop meta? This is how you get back to the mountaintop.
Nah. Okay, so we have one more update coming before Final Shape. The Into the Light, as they call it. What is one thing before we go? What is one thing that you want Bungie to give us in the Into the Light update to make the wait from May to June worth it, or April to June rather worth it? What is
you don't
one
want that
thing?
Answer. You don't want that answer.
Tell me.
You don't want it. You don't want it. I want one of 3 things. One of 3.
Okay.
Hell, you can give me all 3 and I'd be the happiest camper. 1, I need nightclubs in Destiny. I know. It's crazy, but Final Fantasy has proven that if you give people nightclubs, they will use them. Like, look, give me some clan dojos and like guild housing or player housing. Hell, just turn my fucking ship into my own little personal space so I can show everybody all the cool shit I did. Then you can kind of fucking sell me bullshit. Look, I'm trying to help you, Bungie. Look. When you do this shit,
hey, Panda, I'm just gonna say I question the people that you bring on to this freaking podcast. I'm just
fuck you, fuck that. Look, the nightclubs be jumping.
I mean, look, I did say we found him wandering the streets of the last city. So,
look, I'm trying to get my goddamn Zivu around fan club off the floor. Y'all ain't trying to help me. Come on,
as someone, okay, I will say this as someone.
Okay, Kasia, what's the one thing you want from Into the Light? What's one thing you want?
God damn it. It's like I want so much. But if there had to be one thing, Bungie, standardize the cost of entry into your game. Make it easier for the player base to get in. In other words, lump all of your stuff into a freaking one low cost point of entry. The only thing that should cost $70 is your current fucking expansion. Everything else should be bare bones freaking small cost. $20. $20.
Rope the older expansions into the annual
One
pass.
shot. No,
Buy the annual pass, get all previous expansions. It'll make it worth that $100.
right there.
I'm gonna throw mine in real quick. So, Bife kind of already touched on this last week. There is a problem that is fastly approaching when it comes to the in-game issues of Destiny.
Talk to me. Tell me something.
The issue at hand is going to be in 3-4 months. How did we get here? How did we get here from a story perspective? You are going to have like fuck my joke about who's failsafe. But Bungie's about to have a problem of who's the witness. Motherfuckers are still wondering what's the veil. Motherfuckers are still wondering what's going on. How are we gonna get in the thing in the Traveler? Like people are gonna want like new players that come into the game are gonna be wondering who's Gaul, like what happened with Savathun, who's Divu or Wrath, as sadly as that Diva as make Diva. Like all this stuff that's happened. We like similar to what happened with Witch Queen's seasons up to leading up to Lightfall. People are now not even having to worry about anymore. Who's Rasputin? I don't know. Rasputin's dead, so we don't gotta worry about that no more. But at the same time, we're wondering what happened from a story perspective, and Bungie can't tell their player base. And that's a problem. There's about to be a real big problem here in a minute. And this is one of my biggest critiques of Lightfall when it came out. There's so many questions that you're left with as a player. What's gonna happen here in a minute when all these seasonal content, like all these seasons, get vaulted, and there's no way to explain to a player beyond Keith David explaining what happened to Sloan, what happened to Eris, and what happened to Mara. What's gonna happen?
You know,
and it's gonna be a really big problem for the player base. Where if you hopped off for a hot minute for your mental health, what happened?
I'm gonna tell you how Bungie's gonna fix it. I'm gonna tell you how Bungie's gonna fix it. They'll get Elsie Bray and they'll give her a cutscene, and she'll be like, "I can't explain. I don't have time to explain why I don't have time to explain how we got here. Just shut up and roll with it."
No, because like that's gonna be a really big issue here in a minute. And if I want anything from the April update, I need one to 3 missions from Red War. I need 1 to 3 missions from Curse of Osiris. I need 1 to 3 missions from Warmind, and I need 1 mission from each season that we've left. That way, or at least each season that has had a core thing like Seraph, that way people understand what's happened. Otherwise, you are going to have a confused player base, and it's going to be a problem. So I can't have all of Red War, give me 3 missions.
I'm gonna say they need to bring back Red War and they need to bring back Forsaken. The campaigns only for the time being. If they could do anything, that's what needs to freaking happen. Yep. And I'm gonna say, keep it a buck. Bungie at that point, give us a freaking legendary, give us the legendary difficulty version of it to where you've got a reason to freaking do it and get exotics.
Yeah.
That would be a good thing for freaking for the newer player base. Because at that point, you would have all the campaigns in the game. And it would be a good way of connecting the dots. And at that point, Bungie, orchestrate a small little cutscene that kind of explains what happens in between in between each campaign, the major events. Right? At that point, you would only need about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 videos between each campaign to literally drop us at the fucking doorstep of the Traveler come final shape.
Yep. And like I've been saying it the longest time, like all you need to do, like here's my I'll call my diva pipe dream wish for April. If I could get one like pipe dream, and if I can't get Garden craftable, give us Leviathan back. Give us something to
Leviathan back,
give us
though.
something to chew on. Either give us Leviathan back, or give us Whisper and the Outbreak mission back. Give us something. Give us something to chew on.
Leviathan,
No, I
non-power
want-
crept, and refresh weapons.
Do you know how many people still want Midnight Coup back?
Fuck,
Do you know how many people?
done it.
Oh God!
Do you know how many people still want the fucking ornament for Legend of Acreus that's locked behind a raid? Like, if you give us a like a reason to go back to the Leviathan, hell, don't even unpower creep it. Just put it back on Nessus. Just put the Leviathan back on Nessus and leave it alone. I don't care. Don't
Leviathan on the moon.
fuck that. Fuck the moon. Just put it back on Nessus. It's fine. Give us a reason to stick around for a hot minute. And I swear to God, Bungie, I swear to God, if Into the Light is more of this wish token bonanza nonsense, we are going to have problems. Because this whole, hey yo, go do random things around the Dreaming City to get a wish token is getting old, brother. It's getting old.
I mean, it was never
I'm
supposed to be here, so I'm not mad at it.
I'm gonna tell you right now, if Into the Light it's more wish token stuff, Bungie is pretty much gonna be at that point where they've lost the confidence of the player base to where the vast majority of us are gonna come back to Final Shape. We're gonna play the campaign,
And then
we're gonna do the raid, and then you're going to see a lot of people freaking cry Destiny 2 is a dead game. And Destiny 2 right now still averages 550,000 across multiple platforms a day.
Yeah.
550,000 a day. That's right now at its lowest point. If Bungie does more wish-like stuff for Into the Light,
plummet.
after Final Shape, you're going to see the biggest drop there will ever be. And at that point, it's going to be a wonder if Bungie will ever have a chance of getting Marathon off the ground. Because let's be honest, Destiny 2 is bringing in the money right now to keep the lights on.
Yeah.
No, Sony's just gonna take over.
Man, that's one thing that Sony CEO even said, that the Sony's chairman even said they're worried about what's going on. So I have to agree with Cajun. It's going to cause some problems here in a minute if they ain't careful.
Yeah, and look, I like the new CEO that's coming on board because he's talking some actual logic. But I still don't trust the freaking C-suite and the freaking higher-ups, because I'm just waiting for us to turn our backs and they're going to stick another knife in our back.
Of course.
They're either going to do it to the devs or they're going to do it to us, the community.
Because they want their money. And they go get it however they got to get it. But look, that's what I'm saying. Give us nightclubs and then sell us cool shit for our nightclubs. Look, you get your money, I get my nightclub.
I will keep it a buck. Freaking, I do think that they do need to have something.
This
like
man
open up. What was it? The Future War Cult had that one place in the freaking hangar that was like semi-dance club-ish.
Yeah.
Freaking open up that space. Freaking give it, do something like that. Yeah, I agree.
Look, Final Fantasy 14 has taught me that players need places to engage with players that isn't just content.
That isn't just come talk to this vendor and bail out,
Exactly. The one thing that I think that we have lost as a player base is our togetherness. We as Guardians absolutely do not want to engage with the other Guardians outside of, I need to get this content done.
Even clan activities are turned into it's just an LFG at this point, which kind of sucks.
We need more spaces to just hang the fuck out, shoot the breeze, talk, and have fun. But at
the same time, that's become that's not just a Destiny 2 epidemic.
That's a gaming problem.
That's a gaming problem because a lot of games, Final Fantasy, World of Warcraft, Fortnite, Call of Duty, the list goes on and on and on. All these multiplayer games, in some way, shape, or form, are losing their social connectivity through various means. Each game has its own little reason for that.
Yeah.
And Destiny 2, let's be honest, outside of clan Discord, TeamSpeaks, whatever. There's never really been a cohesive social experience within Destiny 2 outside of Reddit and Twitter, which, let's be honest, Twitter's the biggest dumpster fire there is, and then Reddit's not that far
Right
behind.
behind it. Right behind it.
And then I'm going to throw TikTok right at number 3.
You ain't never lied.
But TikTok is, I have to say, a little bit better in the Destiny 2 space.
Yeah.
Once you freaking weed out a couple of freaking, negative D-writers.
So yeah. So that pretty much is like, we have hope for the future, but it's a very shaky platform of hope, is the way I'll put that.
And I'm gonna say, freaking Grenadiers Jake's video about a month back,
pretty real
to me. He kept it real, but at the same time, I know he spoke from a PvP experience, but a lot of what he said at the very beginning is how I feel the same way. Yeah, Bungie needs to course correct and fix a lot of things. But at the same time, I'm gonna keep it a buck, and I'm gonna pass this. This is what I have to say, wrapping this up.
Yeah, what's your final statement?
Destiny 2 community, do yourself the biggest fucking favor ever. Okay? If you are tired of the game, if you are like upset with the game, frustrated, angry, put it down. Put it down. Uninstall it if you have to. Step away. There are so many games out there. Pal World, Helldivers 2, Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth, Lethal Company, so many from last year. There are so many games out there that you could play in the interim to give yourself a breath of fresh air. Come back. If you feel good, that's great. If not, then guess what? You may have grown out of Destiny 2 and need to just step away. Just let it go. Just let it go and move on. Let the rest of us who are still in love with the game, who are still enjoying the game, enjoy it. But at the same time, if you're done with Destiny 2, get it out of your mouth.
Yeah.
Get it out of your mouth. Just
the
shut
is over.
up.
Like, let it go.
Exactly. It's like, if you're burnt out with the game, move on.
It's time to go.
I'm taking my time with a break, and guess what?
At the time of his life.
I'm enjoying it. This is the best place. For me right now, doing what I'm doing is keeping me mentally in such a good place to where when I've got Jay say, hey, can you help out with the raid? You bet. I'm still enjoying the game.
Yeah.
I might be a bit tired of it, but that doesn't mean I don't hate it. I don't love it. I still do.
Diva, what do you want to leave the people with?
I'm going to leave the people with hope. That's what I want to leave y'all with. I want to leave y'all with hope. Look, this game, I understand how a lot of people have some negative feelings surrounding it, because when you love something and you love it as much as this community loves it, you just want it to be better.
Yeah.
But that being said, sometimes the best thing you can do to help others help themselves is to help yourself first. And if you're one of these people that's out here ready to like send pizzas to devs, knocking on their door real loud, look, I'm sorry. If you're that angry, doing that crazy shenanigans isn't gonna help you. It's not gonna help you. It's just gonna make it worse. Yeah. Go, like my boy Cajun over there said, look, go take some time and find something new. Like, you can still come back. Hell, Bungie expects you to come back. Mm-hmm. This is just the way that this game goes. You always have the drought, and the drought isn't there to be like, we hate you. It's there to say, hey, look, you got what we had to give. Now's your chance to go check out that backlog of yours that we know you motherfuckers got. Go and play it. Have some fun. Hell, I'm right with Cajun. I'm playing Final Fantasy Rebirth. And look, me and that bog have a conversation to have. Those who know, they know. And he better be ready. Because fuck you in. But
Lord in heaven.
Have fun. The game that we love came from fun and camaraderie. Yep. We used to love playing this game together with our friends. And now we push everybody away. Let's stop pushing people away. And let's bring everybody back into the fold. Let's let everybody have some fun. You can have fun with us too, if you so choose to. That's what I'm gonna leave y'all with.
All right. You know, Eliza Schuyler once said, "Take a break." That was a Broadway joke for those who get that. Like, take a break sometimes, y'all. Sometimes, like, I forget who said it, but like Bungie kind of expects you to take a break at some point. But no company is able to have enough content to satiate you nonstop. It's not it's not physically possible for a company to satiate you 24/7, 365. Bungie is okay with you going somewhere else for 5 minutes and coming back. So do yourself the biggest favor. Take a break. Come back and let's kick some smoky, like, tall people's asses in a few months. If you gotta do it, do it. We'll be here. We gonna be back next week. We already got our guests lined up. We're gonna be talking about the PvP changes. It's gonna be a great time. Do what you need to do. Don't forget, folks, that you can listen to this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, all those places. Make sure you check out the merch store, shop.cosmodromeradio.com. Make sure you join the Discord if you haven't yet. Come hang out with us. We will be back every week leading up to Final Shape. Unless there's just nothing to talk about, we will let people know on Discord and on Twitter. But more than likely, every week there is news you will hear from us. So make sure that you tune in. Make sure that you're listening. We will be back next week with a brand new episode for you folks. See you, Starside. Peace out.